So, hi guys. This is my first time capturing my desktop, which is yay, go me. And I wanted to talk about this Young Turks video that I found, which is entitled "Anti-Rape Activist Releases Disturbing Sex Tape." I found it. That's a really bad pause point. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for subjecting you to this, but I'm sorry. And it surprised me for one thing. I didn't think that Cenk would ever think this way. Not a chance did I ever think that Cenk would think this way. But he does. And I'll let you see the full thing and then you can have a go at this. Watch this.
University anti-rape activist who lugged her mattress from class to class in protest of the school's rape policy. Well, she just released a new controversial sex video that she's calling an art piece. You're seeing a screenshot of the video here. Unfortunately, we can't show you the video because it's extremely explicit. But Emma Sulkowitz is seen whimpering in pain and protest in the disturbing footage as an anonymous man slaps her, chokes her, and rips off his condom before seemingly forcing her into having rough sex in a dorm room.
Right, basically what's happened is Mattress Girl, as she is commonly known, she reported being raped to her university, and her university decided there's not a case to answer, he's not guilty. The evidence points to him not being guilty. And Emma Sulkowitz then turned it into... She then turned it into a blooming... How can I put this? She turned it into a performance art. As an actress, I understand performance art, and I really do. It's just... How could you turn your own rape into performance art that you yourself are involved in and that you're using to get a grade for? I don't understand it. But listen to what Cenk says.
Now, the 8-minute clip of the consensual sex turning violent is Sulkowitz yourself.
Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever. Okay.
Right, I'll go back a little bit just so you can see what he says. It makes no sense whatsoever.
In the video in more depth, everything that takes place in the following video is consensual, but may resemble rape. It is not a reenactment, but may seem like one. Further, she states, "You might be wondering why I've made myself this vulnerable. Look, I want to change the world, and that begins with you seeing yourself."
Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever.
So, Cenk, a man who once said he wanted to go over to India and marry a woman who divorced her husband because he wouldn't have sex with her, and who beat her husband because he wouldn't have sex with her. I mean, this is not a man that I would assume would be saying this about Emma Sulkowitz, but he is, and yeah, I'll let you see. The reaction of the two women disturbs me. It absolutely disturbs me, but Cenk surprised me, so go on.
Okay. I am 1,000,000% against her. So,
Really?
yes.
I'm interested in this. I'm still on the fence about this.
Okay.
How can you be on the fence about this? He was found not guilty, honestly.
Okay. So, that we're going to have different perspectives. And so that's really interesting. So, initially, she said that she was raped, but that's only after she had a conversation with her other friends who also went out with that same guy, and they're like, yeah, I think he was kind of rough with me, and then she's like, oh yeah, there was this one incident that I didn't like a couple of months into our relationship. I continued to date him for a couple of months, and then Columbia had a trial, went through the proceedings, and decided that he was not guilty, okay? Now, we don't know right or wrong, and I remember covering this at the time, and we were split on it. We're like, oh, that's a little tough. And then she outed his name. But wait, now, they had the proceeding, and according to the proceeding, you're not supposed to say his name, especially if he's found not guilty. And then she started to carry around the mattress as the one I was raped on, and I was like, oof, now it seems like there's a lot of like, look at me, look at me. If you really were raped, you get to do whatever you want, and you're drawing attention to it because you want to draw attention to what a horrible situation that is. Okay, but now when you do this, I go back to the earlier story and say it's not even close. No, she's all about, look at me, look at me. This makes no fucking sense at all. Look at...
Help me, he's right.
Me get raped on video, but it's not rape, it's not a reenactment, but it's art? What the fuck is that? So, alright, so I'm obviously emotional about it.
Disagree.
Alright, so give me your...
This woman disagrees with Cenk that it's not... she's basically saying it's not Emma Sulkowitz looking for attention. It is totally Emma Sulkowitz looking for attention. She's basically going, look at me. She's graduated now. That's something that I should point out. She's graduated now. She got her grade for her performance art. She's graduated. But she's still going to put this out there? No. It's attention. We
disagree. So I think in this video what she's saying is, so it's not a reenactment, but she's showing us a case that is maybe similar. So they engage in...
Is she getting money for this? Is this like actual porn work? Is she getting paid for this? Because if not, well then what the hell is the point? Because she's not raising awareness of anything to do with rape. She's just released a sex tape and made herself famous. In the point, she's Kim Kardashian, basically. Kim Kardashian.
A sexual act that is consensual at first, but then turns violent. Once you start saying no, you could be in the middle of sex, it's rape. Once the girl starts saying, you know what, no, I don't want this, that is rape. And so...
Well, we all agree to that, yeah, but how does this video show that?
So, I think what she's doing, because she started wanting, she realized, wait, I did say no, and her ex-girlfriends are saying this too. Yeah, there is a word for what's happening and why I feel this way. And that's why she did the mattress thing. And I don't think she felt that she was getting... proper response from the university, and so she made...
The university gave the proper response. They took it to court, they let the courts decide. That is proper response. Not... She wasn't dismissed, she was believed. They took her to court as if she were a rape victim, do you know what I mean? It turns out that there wasn't enough evidence to convict. Possibly because she kept on going out with him months after the fact. No.
This video because people don't understand, and so she's saying, here, if you need to see it to believe it, this is what it looks like, and this is why it's called rape. And what she's referencing by calling it, this is not a rape, is that art piece, the art piece that says, like, this is not a pipe, but it says it in French, and it's supposed to be ironic because obviously it is a pipe, and
I've never heard of this art piece before in my entire life. Is it famous? Honestly, why bring this up? Because I certainly haven't heard of it. I don't know if any of you have. If any of you haven't, want to send me a link to it, go ahead.
So that's why she's saying this is not a rape, just like that art piece says this is not a pipe, even though it is a pipe, and that's why it's labeled that way.
I read her... But she's having the actual sex. The guy is slapping her, the guy is choking her, we're doing all this stuff.
So it starts out as consensual, and then it turns violent, and that's when she starts saying no, and that's when she starts
no in the video.
Okay, I'm going to move this on to the next point that I feel is relevant, because it's just going to drag in. If not, right. This woman in green, watch her.
And again, I think that the way that I'm looking at this story is in a vacuum. I'm trying to not look at the context around. If this is an art piece, art exists in and of itself. You can inform yourself about the artist. You can inform yourself about all of the things leading up to it, and it'll give you a more complex look at the art. But many people who have art in their homes observe art in a vacuum. They look at it and they say, what does this do to me? How does this inspire me? What does it tell me? And if
there's a story behind this. And it's something that, if it is performance art, the artist is trying to say something. And there is a backstory behind it, and you've got to figure out what she's trying to say with it. If you can't figure out exactly what she's trying to say within one viewing of it, well then it's not good performance art, okay? I should point out that I don't actually know if you can pinpoint exactly what she's getting at from first watch. Because I haven't seen it.
To make this video to raise awareness of the fact that there's a kind of a type of rape out there that starts out consensual and halfway through becomes unconsensual.
Exactly.
And women feel pressured not to leave, not to get, whatever the case may be, because of the coercion. He's physically larger. It's harder to get out from under him, whatever the case may be. The fact that she's drawing attention to that, that's a good thing. I do agree that
if she's drawing attention to that, that is a good thing, yeah, because we can all agree that once something starts off as consensual, but then turns unconsensual, it's rape. Anything that is unconsensual is rape. Okay? And if she is trying to raise awareness of that, but I'm so skeptical of her motives for doing this, that at the moment, the whole fact that it is technically a rape is weighing heavily on me, because we have this tape, but we don't have anything other than her word that this was how it went down. Do you see what I'm saying? It is rape, but there's no evidence as to whether or not this went down the way she's saying it. Then you hit all sorts of grey areas, and it becomes almost impossible to say whether or not what is in the sex tape actually happened to her, because you're a secondary viewer, and all you have to go on is her word. You don't have any CCTV, you don't have anything concrete, anything conclusive that you can point to and say, yeah, that actually did happen the way she said it happened. That's where people are going wrong. People are not saying that if it did go down, it wasn't rape. People are saying that there's no concrete or complete evidence that it ever happened in the first place. Do you know what I mean? That's what proving rape is. You have to prove that what went down in the first place, and then you get into the whole area of, was it rape, was it consensual, etc, etc. I have a friend who's a psychologist, she's studying psychology. She could probably explain it better than I could, but that's my 2 cents. It comes from, first you have to prove that it happened, and then it goes into the realm of, was it actually rape? This was actually rape, but the first part wasn't done. It wasn't proven that this happened. Sorry, I'll let it go.
That this is a very complicated issue, and a lot of people who read this article and who watch the art piece are going to be like, I'm more confused than I was at the beginning. Is this good or bad? And so because of that, maybe
they're not going to be questioning whether or not it's good or bad. They're going to be questioning whether or not it actually went down like that. Because remember, Emma Sulkowitz says that this is not a reenactment. So did it actually go down that way, or which would make it a reenactment, or is she talking out of her backside? That's what people won't get.
she didn't go about it the best way.
I don't believe her. I believe
she's a bad person.
I don't.
Cenk is pulling this one. He is slaying out there. I'm like, yeah, slay, papa. And as you can tell, I've been watching too much RuPaul Drag Race.
I believe her intent in this video. I believe her intent in this video is, look at me, I'm Emma, I'm an artist. Oh yeah, art. Yeah, me, yeah. Oh, what happened to me was so tragic. Let's do it again on tape.
But okay, that being said,
yes, exactly. And she says at the beginning, it's not a reenactment, so it can't have went down like that. It can't have went down like that. So what happened to her in the video? Was it rape? Yes. Is what happened to her in real life actually what happened to her? By Emma Sulkowitz's own admission, no. That is not what went down. Because it's not a reenactment.
even if you think that way, I know, which is like, Hannah's having a hard time. Even if you do think that way, and even if there's a part of her intrinsic personality, I'm saying if, that is exhibitionist, that makes
Oh, definitely, there is a part of her that's exhibitionist.
her want to do that, don't you think that the core reasoning behind that is trauma?
Yes.
Don't you think that?
Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily work like that. I've had traumatic events in my life. I won't share them here because I don't think anyone will really care, really. I've had traumatic events before going in my life. I have not become an exhibitionist. I've actually fallen in it myself. And I know everybody's different, but everybody that I know who's had a traumatic experience in life have fallen in it themselves. So based on that conclusion, I can conclude that I can conclude that trauma tends to make people fall in on themselves. And I don't know, maybe she's just the one example that I haven't found yet of trauma making people an exhibitionist, but I've never seen that happen myself.
I think something terrible that happened to her.
Everybody has different ways of coping, and so this is her way. And not only is she trying to cope in this way that maybe you don't agree with, which is one thing. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, that's how she can cope however she.
It does matter because she's pulling a guy's name through the mud, who by her own admission. And I have to keep saying this. She said it was not a reenactment, which means that it didn't go down like that. Which means that what happened to her wasn't that. Which means what happened to her wasn't rape. By Emma Sulkowitz, own admission, the guy didn't do anything.
I don't believe her. You guys keep saying cope as if she actually got raped. Okay?
But who are you?
So but wait. Who are you guys to say she did get raped?
Because
there was actually an adjudication. No, bullshit. A lot of people say no. Saying you got raped doesn't mean you got raped.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. This is why we have due process in America and in Britain. We have due process. Now, in America, they only have two verdicts, guilty or not guilty. But in Scotland, we have three. We have guilty, not guilty, or not proven. And the not proven bit doesn't mean that they're innocent. The not proven thing means that there was no evidence. Insufficient evidence, and I believe that if that had this taken place in Scotland, there would have been a return verdict of not proven. That's what I believe. I believe if that hadn't taken place in Scotland, it would have been not proven.
There's a trial. There's an adjudication.
Do you think women want to say they got raped?
Women do not want to say they got raped. But the trouble is, a lot of people do. A lot of people do say that they were raped. When it was regret to a consensual incident, when it was not rape, but when it was, how do you say it? Persuasion, right? Coercion and persuasion are completely different. The no turns into a yes before the act takes place. Consensual. Okay? Coercion does not equal rape because it's consensual. And if anyone want to fight me in the comments about it, then go ahead. But that's my belief. If it becomes consensual before the act takes place, it's not rape. And you shouldn't treat it as such. A lot of women, because of certain people, have reported rape when no rape has taken place. End of story.
I think that every person who has said they got raped actually got raped.
No, but if
100%.
If 99% of them did, then I'm going to err on the side of caution. And I'll tell you what.
I do not.
I would rather people didn't err on the side of caution when it comes to something as Sorry. When it comes to something as serious as this, let's take rape. Sorry, we are taking rape. Let's throw away rape and take murder instead. Are there miscarriages of justice? Of course. Can the evidence lead to someone who didn't actually do it? Of course. Can police fabricate evidence? Of course. Does that mean we should throw the baby out with the bathwater? Probably not. But we shouldn't accuse. But what we do with rapists is not what we do with murderers. Okay, with murderers we wait for due process. With rapists we drag them through the mud before there's even been a trial, before there's even been an indictment. Do you know what I mean? Oh, that's terrible. But we don't want to pretend as though we don't care, when in actual fact we do. We care about everybody in the case. And that's why we have due process, and that's why we don't err on the side of caution and assume that every person who cries rape is telling the truth. And of course it's dangerous for the women, because real rape victims are not taken seriously because of the people that it's been proven false. And also for the person who's crying false herself, because let's be honest, it's a bit like the boy who cried wolf, the woman who cried rape. She is less likely to be taken seriously herself, because they're going to think, oh, it's like a hypochondriac, she's doing it for attention again. Emma Sulkowitz. I hope Emma Sulkowitz is never actually, like, it can be proven that she was raped, because of this. She's very, very unlikely to be taken seriously.
American. I try people. I don't assume because somebody said something that it's absolutely true.
Cenk,
Look, rape is hideous, but you guys are belittling it by saying everyone who makes an accusation is by definition correct.
No,
that is not true.
Nobody said that here. What we said.
Yes, you did. You said err on the side of caution, which is the assumption that everybody who says that they've been raped has actually been raped, and that you're going to assume that the person that they've accused is a rapist. That's exactly what you said.
That's kind of what you guys said.
No, not at all.
You know how difficult it is to prosecute rape. You know how many false positives and false negatives there are when you prosecute rape. You know that we can't only rely on the record of the courts, and that many women.
The only reason that it's difficult to prosecute rape is because of women like Emma Sulkowitz, who report a rape months after the fact, who report a rape and then it's proven false. You can't take a rape seriously when it's like that. Right. This all of it's important, but this next bit, what Cenk says, is important. What I think.
Right, that there's a 1,000 ways to get away with rape, and that makes all of us incredibly angry. That injustice, absolutely. Do some men who were adjudicated not guilty, did they actually do it? Absolutely, absolutely, and it's so hard to prove. Okay, so we've got these burdens, and we got to get past these to get to justice, right? But not every person who says they were raped were actually raped. We do need a process. We need a process to determine guilt, right?
Of course.
In this case, we had a process. It was determined the kid didn't do it, okay? So now she takes it in her own hands and says he did do it, and then she carries it on the mattress so the whole world says, him, he's a rapist, he's a rapist, he's a rapist. And now she does a video where she has sex on tape, going, hello, I'm Emma, the world, see me, and then says, okay, it's this guy. I think it is enormously unfair to that guy.
Your problem here is that she outed the guy, and I have a problem with that too. But I'm able to separate these two things in my mind and say that this.
The thing is, if you were raped, you wouldn't even want to say the name of your rapist. Many rape victims do not say the name of the rapist until years after the fact. So I'm talking decades after the fact. I mean, there was a spoken word thing with a male rape victim, and he said that he saw the name of his abuser, and to him it was a wolf. It was a wolf. And then as soon as he saw his abuser living his life, he realised that no. And then he says the name of his abuser. Doesn't say it on the spoken word, but he says the name of his abuser out loud. Because he doesn't have any power over him anymore. And that's what happens with victims of traumatic events such as rape. They tend to bottle everything up, hold it all in, and really go for it and really bleh. And then one day it just becomes too much and they spill their guts out. Emma Sulkowitz did not bottle anything up. She spilled her guts from the get-go. And then she got the attention of the world. And then when she graduated and stopped carrying around the mattress as part of her performance art to get her degree, the world stopped talking about her. And then all of a sudden, this sex tape is released. And the world starts talking again. I mean, is no one seeing the correlation? Come on. Cenk can't be the only one seeing the correlation. I can't be the only one seeing the correlation here.
Video could potentially have impact, and I don't see anything wrong with doing this video because she doesn't out the guy in the video. There's no evidence that she mentions the guy's name and that it's attached to the video.
We already know she outed him, Tara. We already know that. You can't, you're looking at it in a vacuum.
But that's what I said before, that I'm looking at it in a vacuum.
That's what I'm saying, because you said that, and that's a totally justified way to look at it, but it's also justified to look at the context that we do have. I think context in looking at art and talking about anything is incredibly important.
I think it can help, but you don't have to.
I think it's a fair point.
It also hurt.
Context is important. When we look at a piece of art, for example, when we look at Salvador Dali's work, we don't just look at his work and go, "What's this saying to me?" We know the style it's painted in. We know when it was painted. We know who painted it. We know a bit of his life story. Art does not exist in a vacuum. Okay, she's looking at this in a vacuum. But art doesn't exist in a vacuum. Plays don't exist in a vacuum. Movies don't exist in a vacuum. Someone could look at the Crucible and say, I think he's talking about this, and this, and this, and this, and that, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and that, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Okay, fine. But what it really was talking about was McCarthyism. And that blows some people's minds when you tell them that. It was actually about McCarthyism. Yeah, I did not know. Yeah. And really, the art has to then say what the person wants it to say. So if it's an allegory, then it really has to say something about what it's alluding to. Do you know what I mean?
Let's pretend. Real quick. I think that it's what part of what Cenk is saying, not entirely what Cenk is saying. But part of what he's saying is that.
Yeah, she laughed because he said it's not entirely what Cenk was saying, when what Cenk was saying was absolutely the most... that is the most logical thing I've ever heard come out of Cenk's mouth, to be quite honest with you. The most logical thing come out of Cenk's mouth. And this was the guy who laughed at a guy because he wouldn't have sex with his wife, and his wife ended up divorcing him because he wouldn't have sex with her. Yeah.
Is that the context that he has, this latest piece of art that she is putting forward undermines her credibility on her previous claim. And that is
Just
So,
because
is that
he
a
has
fair-
a problem with the way that she's presenting
Right,
herself.
but is it fair for
It's not just because he has a problem with how she's presenting herself. It's because he has a problem with what she's done previously. He has a problem with her outing the name of a rapist. That, to me, also, to me as well, screams somebody who wasn't raped. I mean, I know I'm probably going to get flames for that, but I'm going to say it anyway. That to me screams somebody who wasn't raped. Somebody who talks about her rape, let alone relives it, and then says it's not a reenactment, was not raped in that way. Certainly not in that way. No way was it raped. No way was it raped, darling.
someone to see that piece of art and think that it undermines the artist's credibility?
Completely, yeah, I
well,
understand that.
Of course, that's fair.
Yeah.
To say that her credibility is undermined is a fair opinion. To say that because of that, you know that she didn't get raped.
No,
I think
I'm
it's
not
a very
saying that. So let's be.
difficult-
Check might not be saying that, but I am. Because of not because of her releasing the sex tape, not because of her releasing the name of a rapist. The reason why I don't believe her is because she made a claim at the beginning that it wasn't a reenactment, which means that it didn't go down that way, which means that it wasn't rape. Oh, how many times?
Very clear about this. No, let's be very clear about this. Look, looking at it from the outside, I have a lot of doubts about her story.
Sure.
Partly because 3 months later, or however many months later, she goes, "Oh yeah, after I talked to my girlfriends, that sex act that we had many, many months ago, and then I had many, many sex acts with him afterwards, I've decided, in hindsight, I didn't quite like." Okay.
But this happens
Okay.
to women
No,
in
I'm
third world
dubious,
countries
and I
all
will
the
be on the
time.
record.
There is nobody on record that's coming forward after having a bad sex encounter. There's no record of anyone coming forward months after the fact to say, yeah, I was raped, apart from Emma Sulkowitz. Like,
As saying, I'm enormously dubious of that. But my opinion on that is irrelevant because it was already adjudicated. Okay.
that's the whole part that nobody thinks. The boy was dragged through court for this. He was acquitted. Okay? He was found not guilty. Please, for goodness sakes, let's pull this out of being a women's issue and look at her. Look at her herself, okay? I'm going to skip almost to the end because I'm pretty sure there's an argument that happens somewhere, like where everybody's screaming and shouting at each other. I think it may be here.
Her voice.
She may be a bad representative
Some girl
for
watches this and then thinks, wait, that is rape, where I say no because it's gotten violent, even though I consented to start, and then I decided, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm not comfortable with this. That it's bringing light to this. Whether or not you agree she was raped or not, it's still bringing light to that. It's still important that people are seeing.
But is it going to happen? I mean, this was put in before. When was it actually released? Hold on a second. Right, June of last year. I have not heard of any spike in rape allegations caused by this. I've not even heard of any spike in rape allegations in correlation to this. There is no evidence that that is what is happening. Okay?
And realizing that facet of rape. And
I think you're both right.
aren't like jumping out of the bush and attacking you.
You're both right.
Everybody knows this. Stop dragging it up. Most rapes happen by someone you know and someone you trust. Same with most sexual assaults. Like, stop bringing this up. We know.
This
rape
could help
like
people.
a boyfriend or a
That's a
date.
good point.
This could definitely help young women who don't understand or who have been victimized by this and haven't seen somebody speak about it. There's no doubt about it that this could help a lot of people. At the same time, it could hurt a lot of people, because if it turns out to be true that this woman is crying rape and she wasn't ultimately raped, she could be kind of losing, she could be undoing a movement that actually needs to be gaining steam. So because of that, I think that you're...
That is why we need to have a healthy skepticism. She could ultimately hurt women. That's why we need to have a healthy skepticism of women who cry rape. And I'm not saying disbelieve everybody. I'm just saying take everything with a pinch of salt and say, okay, let's go to the police. They go, no, just go. It's okay. I'm here with you. Help them go. But if they keep on saying, no, that makes me think, and I don't know what everyone else is going to say about this, but this makes me think that there's something about the story that they don't want to get out. There's something about the story that they don't want to get out.
Right,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that badly needs help.
You're both right. I think if we take a step back, this issue is bigger than Emma Sulkowitz.
Thank you.
And so if we look at it and say, larger than Emma Sulkowitz, what this represents is an important issue. I think we would all agree about
I wonder
that.
if we're going to be, as an artist now, I wonder, because it's now twice that I wonder if we're going to be hearing, it'd be interesting to know in 25 years whether we're still examining the art of Emma Sulkowitz.
Something tells me that this is going to go away very quickly.
Thank you. I mean, she's not doing what Kim Kardashian done after Kim Kardashian's sex tape was released. When Kim Kardashian's sex tape was released, she immediately capitalized on it. She immediately started putting out perfumes. She immediately started putting out a makeup range. She immediately started putting out fashions. She became Kim Kardashian in spite of the sex tape. If she'd relied entirely on the sex tape, guess what we would be thinking about Kim Kardashian? That lassie in that sex tape. That's all we'd think of Kim Kardashian. And I say, I'll give a rough time frame. In 2 years, if we're still talking about Emma Sulkowitz as anything other than Mattress Girl, I will eat my words, okay? You have that on tape. I will eat my words.
It's not going to be art that lives in the halls of the Getty anytime soon.
Yeah, well, that might be the case. But she's going to want the spotlight again. Okay, that's me being...
Definitely. She's going to want the spotlight again because she's an attention seeker. And this only has a few seconds on it, so I'll let it play out. Peace!
My personal opinion on it. But last note of caution. Don't assume you know what happened in that room based on the little evidence that we have. I obviously have my suspicions. I was incredibly honest about them. But remember, the only people that kind of know are the people who knew all the evidence and looked at that case at Columbia. Okay? So, you weren't in that room. I wasn't in that room. None of us were in that room.
The only people who really know are her and a guy. Right.
Yes.
That's the truth of it.
So there you have it. I'm actually surprised at Cenk. I'm actually surprised at his... this has actually been over 30 minutes long. I'm really sorry for that. I didn't intend it to be any more than maybe about 15 minutes long, maybe 20 minutes long for a little while, but hey, I've now hit into the walls of fame, I've now become a reaction person. Or perhaps I've become a commentator. I don't know, but anyway, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.